We're declaring a class script, a class function, sorry, class port scan. So we tab all this into the function. Sorry guys, 1 minute, let me attend to this. Hello. What's up? We don't need this anymore in the script. So we come back to this place. So we define the init function. Define underscore underscore init underscore underscore. The first parameter is a self parameter. So from the vulnerability scanner, we know we have targets and we have port underscore num. So the standard is simply self.target is equals to target. So dot port underscore num is equals to port underscore num. So the next thing we need to do to fully involve all these functions in the self function, in the class method, we actually implement self, convert all the function parameters to what self. Self. This is actually being converted to what? Self. This will be the last time we'll take this. After now, everybody will try, somebody else will try to do it so that we move to the next phase. Then we try to actually, where we have any of the functions, try to add the self parameter method so that it's fully aligned. Self.checkIP, self.scanport. Sorry, this IP address is no longer needed because target has actually been declared in the vulnerability scanner. Now, we are not printing anything out. We are importing the script. So anywhere you see print, you just erase it off. So this. And we had that here. So let's look at the functions one by one. I think this particular function is okay. The only thing that we don't need here is again the converted IP, because in this place, no IP address is defined anymore at this place. So this converted IP can no longer be here. It was there because we defined. Now, this self here, we already have targets. So this IP here will not work. So what we have that replaces this particular IP is what? Self.target. Return what? Self.target. return what? Self dot target. We don't need banner function. We can define it within this port function. So we come here, we define the banner function with your what? Socket descriptor. Then the function of the banner is this. It receives 124 bytes. So we can decode it. We can strip it. Strip. So after doing that, this IP address here, we don't have any IP address, so we have to actually replace it with what? What replaces it is the converted underscore IP. Sorry, IP. So what else do we have here? So look at the scan port function. It has been properly aligned to the class method. This is aligning to the class method. This is fully aligning to the class method. But we need to actually add port here because it actually has a port function. Because this scan port here actually has a port function. So we'll put a port function here. Now, what is left is simply that we can only append one banner. Now, from the normal port scanner, it prints open port. Now, the open port, we have multiple banners, but with this, we can put open port. So in the open category of open port, there's an open port without a banner. There's an open port with a banner. So we need to actually define banners so that you can actually have multiple banners appended. Banners is equals to list. So you give a line that should be able to actually append the banner. So you have what? Self dot banners dot append banner. So now that we've appended the banner, we are not printing open port. Where will we store the contents of open port, the elements of the open port? So we have to create a list for the open port so that both elements of open port and banners are stored. So we now have open ports. So we need to write a statement or line that actually appends the content. How many elements of open port? Sorry, self dot open underscore port dot append port. When we have this, so for every open port, not all open ports, sorry, actually has banner. So the scenario we have here is we can append all open ports, but we can only append the ones with banner. What about the open ports that actually don't have banner? How are we going to append them? This particular place currently is actually pass, then close the socket. Mic.close. So we need to actually create a scenario where open port that doesn't have banners can be appended. So self.banners.append, even if it's not open, append it so that both the elements in this particular will be equal to the elements here. So that's hence that particular part. Do you want me to review it, or you guys want to actually try it one by one so that we can actually know we've mastered this part? We move to the next. We move to the next script. Sorry, let me stop sharing. Mr. Abioye, Mr. Kara, Mr. Anderson.
So we can actually go for it, sir.
Sorry,
Sir.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I said we can actually go for it. I can try it.
Okay, share your screen and let's get the party started.
Okay, sir.
Please, I didn't hear that part. What are we trying, please?
Okay, yeah, he said we should
Convert
we should try and do the same thing in
fifth
just
script.
now.
The fifth script, convert it to a class script.
Okay, converting the fifth script.
Yeah, Mr. Kano, will you go
What kind of
first?
script you have, convert it to a class script that can be imported into the
Baba, you picked up the mantle. Carry on.
Go now. I was expecting you to say something now.
Okay, let's start. You will not appreciate what I'm doing for you now until
No,
you
but
get.
we are.
You understand? Because the copy. Just wait. Let me share my screen.
Doing it from the start.
Employers are not morons. You understand? So about 9 of our people are going for interview tomorrow. We forwarded their list to them. So from now, the earlier you get active, the earlier you start attracting attention. We're not surprised if you continue that before you even finish the simulator training, somebody would have employed you. So they actually called. I sent out all the names. They know what they are looking for. And we have opportunities for people to actually move to UK. So we are trying to do our best to actually meet with international market demand, because those days in telecoms, we call something standalone dedicated control channel. Means you have to, what it simply means is if you actually have to get any job abroad, you have to be somebody who can work independently without any support from anybody. So those dollars, $3,000, $4,000 are not necessarily for people who actually don't understand what it means to solve problems independently. What I mean, I don't know if you've worked in an engineering sector, not maybe for every company, there's what they do to make money. There's what they do to make money. So we are using the standard of an MSSP to work with you. What I simply mean is this. Now, if it's an MSSP, they do EPS, events per second. So if you can single-handedly handle tasks that actually bring in revenue, that means you can work alone without any input of any engineer with you. What I mean is this: if you can single-handedly set up what a SOC, integrate systems, you monitor it, you actually do what incident response, manage all those stuff. Then additionally, you can now actually handle penetration testing advisory. You can work alone on your own. Do you get that? So those are the kind of skill sets we are trying to build in people so that any interview they do, they are able to handle it very well. So employers knows what they're looking for. So these are the names sent out. We only called 7 out of 11, 8 out of 11 for interview. Why? Because they know what they're
doing. Why only 8 out of the 11?
One, your LinkedIn resume. Let me show you.
You said 8 was sent out of 11. Why? Why 8? Is it that they wanted only 8?
I'll show you the reason. This is somebody we train. Look at the LinkedIn resume. If you're an recruiter, will you call somebody like this?
There's nothing here now.
Good.
There's nothing to endorse.
So then the other guy. So
that's the
challenge we have from those.
She's too lazy to develop a LinkedIn.
No, I'm not sure. She's actually just lost her husband. So fortunately, so this is actually the transition from a class teacher to a cybersecurity guy. Yeah, you understand, does not look too cool. You understand? And when you come down
to remove class teacher now.
When you come down, we've been advising. So those who are not called, we told them And I told them last week, Saturday, when we were having the session, to actually I'd spotted all this to work on their resume. This is one of the people. So you won't see a resume like this, and you don't want to call the person.
Oh, that's.
Are you seeing? So come down. Are you seeing? So those are part of all what you've done in terms of how I put it, projects. All the projects you will do, upload them to GitHub, put them here. If possible, now that you are doing videos, the link to your videos, put everything here. Because we can only submit names. The recruiter calls who he wants based on this. He has not met you before, but the first, and you don't have a second chance to ever make a first impression. It's a bitter lesson I've learned in my life. So there's nothing like proper packaging. You don't have a second opportunity to make a first impression. Somebody can be looking at you. This guy is in UK, he's not here. It's one of the people, there's a project coming up in Kenya, talent, good talent. Let me say good and. So we keep getting requests, but it's all about demand. So Jimmy Brimer actually runs good talent in UK. We have Amazon in UK. Based, not that they are based, they run HR for tech in UK. So the opportunities are endless. It's just that the skill, once the skill is not there, this guy was telling me that he had actually onboarded 50 MSc cybersecurity from UK. Only no more than 2 or 3 of them got the job. And the interviews are always in stages. There's a part where they will evaluate you. There's a part you come to do what you are doing now. Go online and check the interview. They always give you a script, or completed script. You have to complete it. At the part, you have to complete it. It's always part of. So these beep and bobs we're doing is actually to prepare you, because these ones now, I can't start teaching them script at this stage. It's too late. It's now you're supposed to learn it as part of what you take away from the training. So let me stop sharing my screen. So everything you are learning is to give you the necessary stamina to stand alone. When I mean stand alone, because something, those days they call it change request or payment invoice. For every, if you can, as an engineer, can single-handedly handle all the tasks that brings in a payment invoice into a company. That company won't want to let you go. There might be 4 or 5 people that might do the job. So the standard we're using to train people is an MSSP. So if you can work, so if a company that's not even an MSSP, they just need a cybersecurity guy in-house that can manage other, you should be able to do better than that. Advise them accordingly. So that's the standard we are using to train people, believing that you can go there, configure an MSSP. You know what it means, a SOC. Gadgets in the SOC. You know what it means to integrate systems into the SOC, run comprehensive penetration testing, and actually give adequate results. Do a little bit of threat intelligence, do incident response, do log analysis, complex log analysis. So that's the standard. So you can share your, it starts from this. So you can share your script.
Okay, sir.
That's what. Before you continue, we will not be hearing your voice, so it was.
He has not been talking, he has not been quiet. Is there any problem?
Just wanted to say hi.
Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening,
sir.
You have always
hear your voice, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Abiyoye.
Seriously, to be sincere, Mr. Carroll, thank you for the notice. He has not really been saying anything.
I've been busy throughout last week. I went to relieve someone, and I think today is the last day. So I just came back not too long ago.
Hello.
So
it's good.
I'm even saying after this class, I want to call Mr. Mike. Let me get all those videos and try to stay up to date.
Okay, that's fine. Now that you've spoken up, because we don't know what's happening, you just keep quiet. I'll gather the videos and share with you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's start. Let's start with Mr. Abdabioye.
Okay. I'm sharing my. Okay. Please, everyone, can you see my notes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I will try. I will copy the scan. I will copy the script now. Then I will just edit it. I'm bringing it from the WhatsApp, our WhatsApp page. Okay, I just pasted this in. I don't know if you are seeing it. So please, are you still seeing it?
Yeah, what's saying it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convert this script to a class script that can be imported into another script. So all of this defined function can be used. So I'm converting this to class script now to a vulnerable class script. So first thing first, I don't really need this second because the last set of code that I have here is not needed. Deleting them out. So the first thing to do is to define the class. So let me start from here. So I'm having class, then font scan as my class. Then I start defining all of its attributes. So once I do this, I have to beat in all of these functions, all of this defined function I have. I have to nest them in my class constant. So I'll do that now. Let me do very fast. It's okay. So after doing that, I'm going to define my index. And I'll put my bracket. And the first object in this parameter is comma. Then the variables, or should I say the inputs that will be received, the input that will be received from the client side is going to be the targets and plots number. This is in line with the naming system I'll be using on the vulnerability script that will import this thing as a model. So this is defined as a function. Say,
sorry, the init function has to be in line with all the other.
Yeah, so that has to be nested also. So I define the properties. That's to be nested within this defined function. Then I have self dot target. So I'm going to do the self dot port number 2. And self dot port. So the first thing I will do is all of my defined functions, their parameters are changing to to self since I'll be using the attribute of self, which is defined in my init. So I have this as myself. So this out. So I have self here. This port is going to be here because this was not defined within what I have here as the property. So I have my port here, and so let me see. Then the next thing is all of the scripts, all of the lines that will be printed, I delete them. There's no need to print anything to the screen. Deleting them out. Wait while I have this again. Okay, this. Okay, let me stop it now again. So now for my function scan, I don't need my IP here. I don't need this IP here. I will just run this IP in the ports, in the scan port itself. So I can bring this in here. Say I do this. So the next thing is, okay, I don't need IP address here. Just let me find. So what I will have here is going to be self. So converted IP is what I'm going to be having. So let me run through again. Then all of my initial scan function, then I'll add set to them like this. I have okay. So let's scan underscore ports and where do I have it again?
Sorry, is actually not supposed to be self.check IP. That self.target, I'm not sure it's supposed to be there.
No, it should be if this is going to be my target and it has been defined here already. So if I'm calling this as self and I don't have my IP here, and the IP has already changed to target, then it has to be self.target.
You know,
going to check the IP.
The just target or target underscore IP.
Hello, Mr. Bioye. The function
Yes,
check IP, we have not modified it. That is where you define self.target. You know, the check IP function ordinarily was supposed to convert domain name and IP into IPs. So that is where, that's where you use self.target. So it brings back self-target function. Then the check IP is supposed to be self or check IP. It has to carry self. No, there's no self there, but to be self.check IP, it will be self.check IP. Self.check underscore IP. With the double bracket. Okay, good.
That's the function. It has already been defined, so it's just going to go into my IP will have been checked. Okay. Perfect. And the next thing to do is here, since I print out my open port here after it connects. But now I don't need to print it out again. So we'll have to just grab the banner. Then that means in this case I'll be needing to put where to append it to every time I grab it. So I'm going to have my this is not for banner, this is for ports.
You are modeling. Let's take it step by step. Now, before you start appending banners, can you modify that part back to normal? Now look at the function.
Okay. Let me just modify. Okay, for the dead banner. So it's going to be it's going to be my
You okay?
This is not this. Siblings, most of the sibling, most of the two fold families. Then we have the fold. Where again I'm going to strip. Strip is to remove the male line. And when I strip again, we have a cis line. This one's just going to bring it's just going to bring into the others. So job strip.
No, R. That's R, not N, not double N. The last string.
Just for R.
So you remove the defined banner function total after doing that.
So this is gone.
You defined it. So let's look at the functions. So your scan function, can you close the gap in between the scan function? The first function, that's scan port. Good. That's it. Okay. Good. So the scan function is okay. Now let's look at the check IP function. Is there anything you're missing out there? Everything is intact. Now let's look at the scan port function. That is where you have issues. Now, if this actually, because even if you are importing it, what it will do, it will connect and it will be actually be checking, it will be looking at the. Now, it can only append one banner. It needs a list to append multiple banners in the open port. So you can now start from there to create a list, then create a statement for it to append multiple banners.
Okay. So I have my banner. Then it's supposed to append to list.
Banners.
Banners. So banners. So I will come back here to now append. So I will have cell.
No. Not there, under banner.
Okay. Sorry. I have cell. Banner.
Not banners. Banners.
That's syntax. Append. Then I have the banner to be appended. So if whenever the port is open and there is a banner there's a banner present in the port, which will be appended to my banner, which is the list I have here. So the next thing to do is, if there is no banner, I will still append an empty space so that the iteration between the port and the banner is going to be the same, so that we'll have a balanced list. So here, except I'm just going to say, I'm going to bring in this. Then I'm going to remove the banner here, because now we are assuming there's no banner, so it's just append empty space. So am I going to close that?
Yeah, you're okay, but you've not created a list for open port.
Yes. So I'm done now. So here, what we do is we connect and check the port. Now, initially we printed it out, but now we're not printing anything out. We check for open ports. If the port is open, then we can append. We can only append once, but because we want to append multiple ports, since we are tracing over ports, then I'm going to create a list for my ports too. So first of all, let me create an empty list. Now ports. Not port, yeah, say open port. Open underscore ports. Then I have an empty list to work with where I will append them. So I can just come in and do the same thing I did with the banner. So I do serve
Open ports.
Underscore ports.
Dot append. Port.
Put my ports in. So the ports I have here is what has been checked and spoken. spotted, disappended. Then the SETI handles when the port is not open, so it's just going to pass. And
can you close the socket? Close the socket.
Okay, yes. I have to. So here I close the socket by using my socket, which is setting here is my cross. So that's
the double bracket.
close, yeah.
Bracket. Good.
So I think that's the end of it.
Somebody else wants to try this. The more you do it, the more it sticks. It sticks into you. So imagine you walk into an interview, you understand, and they talked about port scanner, and you code it from the beginning right there under 5 minutes, and you convert it into a class script. There's no doubt that they're going to actually call you for the job. That is what they want. So we've noticed this laxity and weakness in the team. That is actually why we are building it now. Can somebody else try it? Because all through your career as a penetration tester, you will scan for vulnerabilities. All you are taking advantage is the vulnerabilities. Those are what you are taking advantages to exploit them. It's in the exploitation of those vulnerabilities you now hack into the system or the device, as the case may be. So ability to write codes to actually find vulnerabilities is actually a good plus for you within the market. Somebody wants to actually look at doing it. Mr. Carroll, you want to give it a shot?
No, I would have loved to, but I've not gotten there. I'm stuck at 5. I'm stuck at 5. Let me not be too ahead of myself. I'm stuck at 5.
Okay, let's do it this way. I think let's do it this way. Let me give you guys till 9:10 to look at it one more time. Then somebody close for today, because we must round up this tomorrow. Then when we're coming on Thursday, we take those other projects are not complex projects. It's just one script. The other one you're writing is the SSH brute forcer. Now, if they ask you, how do you actually, how do you prevent brute forcing in real life? Because the whole idea is for you to start thinking. Now, you made the password complex. So if you are doing it, if you are managing anybody, I don't know if you've seen sites where, like multinationals, because you are managing cyber assets of people. 1, you give them complex passwords. 2, you set maximum failure login. You know, brute forcing will brute force a lot of before it gets it. So if the maximum failure login is 5, that is why that is why you said
important.
Do you get it? Like somebody wants to actually type in, if it's my password, my maximum, if I'm the one, it should not be more than 2 or 3. If it's going to 5, it's showing that it's brute forcing. It should trigger an alert immediately. So you see that before you acquire the skill, you don't understand the management. So if somebody is brute forcing any password, or you develop a tool that goes around and actually tests the password and actually flags a weak password. Coca-Cola has that. Sorry, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 minute. Hello, guys. So you see, it's not just it makes you a native and a generic organic approach to it. You know how to code it. You understand? So that is how you avoid forcing. Well, when you're actually allocating, if you're actually doing, they call it in your OAuth penetration testing, there's an authentication testing. There's a password management testing. So it's a standard within the assets you're managing that no password should be less than what? 15 or 17. And the content of the password has to be complex. Then you set maximum password failure. So if somebody who is actually typing in his password, he fails 1, he fails 2, he fails 3, he cannot fail 4 and 5. Obviously, somebody is actually, then the sequence in which is actually it's coming shows that it's brute forcing. I don't know, am I communicating to you guys? Because you meet it normally in the interview, they will ask you all these questions.
Yes, sir.
What is brute forcing? How do you handle it within the network? So if you are now very vast that you can actually implement what actually checks password around and actually flags for weak password. So
I have a question.
It actually shows the two clients. So let's pause a bit.
Sabir said he has a question. Sabir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to ask, sir, port scanning, is it illegal or legal? The reason why I'm saying the reason why I'm saying this is no, I'm just scanning the port if it is open. I'm not really doing anything.
Okay, what
we say that most of these ports are honey.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it from professional practice. When you say legal or illegal, I don't know what you mean, but we have white box, we have black box, we have brown box testing. Now, the white box testing is that they'll give you some level of access. They will tell you to. Now, some can say, we're not giving you anything. If you can hack into our system and the other way. Now, maybe the question you're asking is, scanning people's websites arbitrarily, is it legal? Like maybe you can rephrase your question.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What are you looking for? So that is what hackers. But these days you don't have, you are just learning. You don't have unprofessional hackers. You have hackers who are experts. So if it's a website that actually is very good and the guys who are managing the assets are well good, they normally, the easiest way they hack into system these days is social engineering. They try to infiltrate, you understand? Because if the network had been properly segmented, you will not go beyond the DMZ. That's the website. That is where you end. So the most way they infiltrate into the system is through social engineering, deploying different tools. They study a personnel or a personnel they want to attack. They send in emails, you understand. Once you click on any of the link, they are in. In means they will sit down and watch him for weeks. You understand? Sharp, they've actually activated persistence. Anytime he's logging in, they're looking at what it. So it depends on the mindset or the intent of the attacker. What exactly is he looking for? Is it BEC, compromise email? What shop is it? Shop, they call that guy, shop daddy, shop daddy. Shop, is it up shop? Yeah. Is it shop daddy? I don't know what they call him. So it's on that they act, he studies a target. When they want to do procurement of financial transaction, they take over the email and they actually divert the funds. BEC, is it not BEC they call it? I'm trying to remember the acronym. It's BEC now. So I hope you understand. So it's not just having the skill. When everybody come, I want to hack into a system. What are your business email compromise? Yes. So what is your intention? You understand? So if you are asked to manage people's assets, and so what security measures will you put in place to protect all this? That is the essence of having the knowledge. Now that you know how to do it, what are the things you do? How do you protect your people from actually being prey to social engineering? You understand? It can come, social engineering can come in different forms. Not only just sending spurious, it can come in different forms. Somebody can actually bring up can put up a corporate front only to just actually use social engineering to attack a company. So that's why we are here, to actually learn all those stuff. And when you are talking to a company, you are talking from a point of competence because you can do it. It's not just theory you are telling them. You can do it. You understand how to actually implement it. So let's take a pause till 9:10. Then when you guys come back, somebody should do it again. It's in, even when you're doing it, you're not getting it. That is why it's a community. We'll be correcting you. In doing it, you are now actually breaking that jinx and fear. So you can now do it. Once you've done it all, I'm sure when you now go back, you can now be picking the dots, connecting the dots of how you did it in class. That's the essence of this session. So let's take a break for like, let's come back. Let's regroup 9:10. Then we now actually look at it. Somebody picks it up and do, and then we will round this up today. Because when we come tomorrow, we'll be doing something else. Okay, if we are ready, we can rock. Okay. You guys can actually share your screen. Let me run through it one more time. Then I believe you can have the video, you practice it. How did you get disconnected? Oh, the internet's not working. Okay, there's something wrong. I think once you have left, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
So this guy is saying he has been disconnected. And the problem with Zoom is once you have been, can you try to let me see? Can you try to log in again? Okay, you are back. So I think it's your connection, because if you log out yourself, you'll not be able to come back in again. So I was saying I repeat the process, then somebody else tried to do it, or you just this is what we have. So we can look at it for the last time. Copy. So this is actually a full port scanner with the capabilities of scanning ports and what print getting banners. So because we are actually writing, I think this is it. Good. This is a vulnerability scanner. Now we want to import this class script into this script. Now we've defined our target, our port number, then the vulnerability file that contains vulnerable softwares. Then we've defined our target and our scan. So these are actually how we actually compare. So let's finish with this now. We'll now come and explain this. So we end the class there. So the first thing we do is to do what? Define our class function, port scan. So we have to tab all these functions so that they can fall into the class method. First, remove all these prints. We don't need them. So we don't need to input any target since we are importing this script, and we'll be inputting targets in the main script. So we've defined a class function, sorry, a method. So it comes with its own function called init. Now the first thing it takes is self, target, port, num. Those are the two variables or the objects of variables we put there. So it has a standard way of expressing its method with the variables, which Python's target is equals to what? Target, so that they can be fully aligned with the class method. Port underscore num is equals to port underscore num. So the first thing we do is convert all these variables in the function towards self, so that they can be aligned self. Self. In a way, let's try to solve it in a way that is logical, so that you can always remember. Let's remove print. So now let's look at all the, function and actually let's try to align them to. So we have scan port. So we do self dot scan port, and we have self dot check IP. What happened here? Okay. So let's move this IP address. We are aware that in the input, there's a target, there's a port number, and there's a TXT file that we actually we need to actually we need to apply. So there's no need repeating IP address. So the first thing we try to do is actually to take this converted IP and add it to the scan port function. So we come here. We put it in the scan port function. So now what else do we have here? This particular scan function is now a self parameter, which is actually, we have defined target. So this converted IP is no longer needed here. So, but for the for loop, for ports in range, so for ports in range, so therefore the for loop, the ports variable is still valid. Now, that means we finish with the scan port function. Now, let's look at the check IP. We don't need IP anymore. It actually, so the IP now is actually the target. So how do we now replace IPs with target is what? Self dot target, so that it can actually align with what? The class method. It will return what? Self dot target. It returns what? Self dot target. Now we don't need this banner anymore. We can redefine its function within this. So we come here and say banner is equals to what? Mic dot RCV 1024 bytes dot decode dot strip new line character dot strip So having written this, what else are we actually, let's look at the scan port function. Now, if there is a port here, already attached to this CAN port, then there should be a port defined at this place. Now, what else are we using? There's still an IP address here, which we don't have IP address. So this particular place defines check IP, which carries self.target. So instead of this IP, you can put what? Converted _ IP. Now, let's remind ourselves, this particular scan port function is what connects to the target to actually do what? Scan the ports. You understand? So in case it's what? The ports are many, are not up to one. This is scan function. It can scan up to 500 ports. Now, if the port you put here is 100, and in this your target, you actually want to define, sorry, no, not this. And in this place, you want to put 500, it will not work, because this is actually what is actually scanning the ports. I don't know, are we relating? Can we relate to what I'm saying? So if you, it's only when you actually put 65,000 here, you can scan up to 65,000 in this particular, because this script is not scanning port. You already imported the content of a port scanner. This is the script that is running. Now, this place has been actually defined to actually help you manage the domain name and what IP conversion. So once we finish with that, now it will be scanning multiple ports, but what we have here can only handle one banner. And since we are not printing it out, let's create a list where banners.
Okay, I don't know. I have a question now. It pops in my mind, and I don't know if I should drop it now. I should wait.
Yeah. You can ask your question.
Sir, it seems as if now I know we use self.target, but self.port_number wasn't used anyway. Can't we replace that in range? No. So what is the usefulness of self.port_number? Okay.
You mean this particular stuff defined here?
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
Okay, what is this?
That's port_number.
So you can leave this way. It's actually to just actually let you know that the class we are defining, we are taking the targets from here. Do you get it now? So what we defined here was actually, this has got nothing to do with these 4 functions before. So you are defining this because what? You want to import it into this particular script.
Oh, sir, now my question again now is, now if our because port number we are giving here is not the iteration we are getting from the script we converted to class, because it seems as if we have already defined the number of ports, which is in the range where we have for ports in range this.
That is what I just actually told you, that what is controlling the amount of ports you scan is this particular stuff.
Then what's the function of port_number? No.
This is a class.
Okay.
I hope you get it. So this is a class. Now we've now forced all this particular function into the class method, simply because you want to import it into another script. Do you get it clearly now?
Yes, I understand that.
Now, so what is actually the engine is this particular script. So the class you are defining here, you took the root from this particular one you are importing it to. These are the inputs. So this is what you define.
Yeah. Okay. The last thing, sir. But I still feel we can, where we have 65,000, we can substitute it to have our port number there. So that would be the maximum of the mass range we are going for. I'm just then we could have it as port_number +1, so that, because we know that the max when we do range, the maximum, it doesn't get to the maximum. It's mass minus 1. So I'll give you the try, sir. Don't worry, sir. I will see if it works.
Mr. Abioye, you can use different syntax to express yourself in as much as it works for you. But for this particular one, this is the syntax we're using in range.
Okay, sir.
Do you get it? So
Yes,
in
sir.
iteration, there are different iteration. For this particular syntax, this is what we're using. So back to what we're going. Now, before the question came in, we've defined the init function. We've defined the self-scan function. We've defined the IP function. Now, the purpose of this particular script is that it is scanning banner, it is appending it. At the same time, it is comparing it with the content of the vulnerable software of this file to inform you of what softwares that are both vulnerable. Let me repeat that statement. The purpose of importing this script is that it is scanning and appending banners, comparing it with what vulnerable banners you've attached to inform you that, okay, this banner is vulnerable on port so and so. So now, with that information, you can now exploit those vulnerabilities. Now, having said that, we now go back and actually create. We only have a scenario where you can append one banner. So you need to append with multiple banners. You do that. One banners is equals to list. Do you get it? So we need to write a statement that will make it append multiple banners. So what we have here is self.banners.append. Content is what? Banner. Now, we now have banners. The next thing is what? In the normal port scanner, we print out port, open port, and not all open ports have banner in them. Then how do we actually append open port so that we can have the same elements for both balanced elements for what? Open ports and banners. So we have to create another list for what? Open ports. So this is the part where the script connects. So after it connects, instead of printing, because this is nested statement. I hope that this is a nested statement. This is the real try from the socket descriptor. So this is because they ask you, why are you putting the banner here? Why are you not putting it here? Now, this particular place is a nested if statement, telling you that after it has gotten to open, you have an open pocket, try to see if you can grab a banner. That is why it is nested into the main. So this particular first statement only prints what? Open and close. Now, in the condition of open, it can help you get what? Grab banner. So this is where you print what? The print statement for what? Open port. So self.open port.append. That is why it is written here. Ports. Now, as you can see, we have open ports. Not all open ports grab banner. There are some open ports that don't grab banner. So you have to create a condition, a scenario for that particular condition to be captured. Banners.append. So if we look at the script we've written, everything is a little bit, it's now balanced. We've properly defined what? The class script and the init function. The scan function has been defined. The check IP has been defined and tied to the class method. Under the scan port function, everything has been properly defined. So we can now import this into this particular, that is why we have import port scanner here. Now, in the import port scanner, we properly defined the input. Input, enter target with vulnerable open ports. You enter the target. Port number. So that I can answer your question. Port number, target the port scanner, the port scan dot what, the two variables input. Now, what exactly is actually importing and running the script? This is where you called this script target.scan. Now, if you come back here, when you call scan function, it activates scan port function. Now, when scan port function is activated, the check IP function is activated and the banner function is activated. That is why the script here was what? .scan. That is where it called it. Now, once that particular script is activated, what is the next thing we're doing? As the script is running, we are trying to compare it. We have a list of vulnerable softwares to see which of them align. So if we get the ones that align, as it's actually scanning, instead of printing, it picks one open port. It appends it. Even it appends the open port here. It appends, if there's a banner here, it appends it. Now, what does this script do? Now, for open.von file and read, it reads it. Now, for banners in target.banner, now for all the banners it has appended, it will try to actually look at it. Now, it will read the lines and compare what, if they are actually equal to this, what has been written here. If they are equal, it prints it out. The count continues. So, Mr. Abioye, this is another syntax for iteration, if this is what you want to do. So you have to define 0, then you have to define the iteration, how it actually speeds up.
Yes, sir. For the count plus, I know this iteration will help us pick out the particular port. That's why we have it as string open bracket target.
So now this particular iteration is different from that one you saw. Now, because it's doing different job. Now that one is just scanning port. Now this iteration is comparing two datas and seeing which one is aligned. If line in find dot, for line in file dot read lines, if file dot strip in banners. This part is stripped. This part is stripped.
Yes, sir.
When it's actually reading the lines, if there's a possibility that they are equal, print that it's a vulnerable banner. Once it does that, go to the next banner. Go to the next banner you see and compare it with what is here. That is the next count. This file.seq brings it back to what? 0 count. So that is the content of what the vulnerability scanner. Tomorrow when we come, we might practice it for 20 minutes, then we'll move to what? SSH reinforcement. How to write it, or write it on your own. So, SARS, does anybody have a question? So that I will share the video of this before I leave so that you can watch it before we come tomorrow in case you have a question. So, if we do have a question, we've done this over and over again. We close here, we'll continue tomorrow. So good night all and enjoy your night. I'll share the video now immediately, the recording now.